It's like a shark, NATO, except with poop.
I'm not happy.
I don't need Elizabeth Warren or the government giving away my money.
Calling Mike Bloomberg an oligarch has implications in this country that I think are unfair and unreasonable.
I care. That's it.
Makes you think of some rich person who got their money off of oil in Russia, who's taking advantage of a broken and dysfunctional system.
Bernie Sanders saying, the country's corrupt, our system's corrupt. Be careful about that language, Bernie. You know, be careful.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
I will eat your ass.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation, hey everybody, welcome to the show. It's Friday. It's the end of another week. We have survived once again another week of disastrous news / coronavirus. So to all of you, you should probably give yourself a hand. You give yourself a pat on the back. You know, you survived. You made it. It's the end of the week. You got a weekend coming up. Unless, of course, you're one of the proud weekend warriors. To them, I salute you, of course, for working the weekends that most of us don't want to. All right. To everyone else, welcome to the show. We got a good show for y'all for you. So we've got some. I gotta ask the question. Are my fellow white people okay? Because they're doing the things, blowing stuff up. Because of genitals. I gotta ask the question. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the coronavirus vaccine. We got people not wanting to be vaccinated. Of course, we got Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell's website is trash, and we're gonna talk about that. We've got a MAGA writer getting rejected. Oh, so fun. It's so good. Not only does this MAGA writer get rejected by a female, but also that has led to a surprising, not shocking end. And then we have another, unfortunately, a terrible story of another man, black man who was shot by police. So, of course, yeah. There is a lot of white meltdown, white outrage, if you will. But hold on here. We're gonna do some. Let's see. Do some moderation here. Over on Twitch, our moderator's not here today. So you know what I want to do. Let's do the okay. Hold. I'm doing things. All right. So congratulations to our new mod, SBloom85. So you're always here. You're always doing the thing. You're always helping out with the chat. I'd like you. So you have become a mod. I've knighted you. Now you can keep the trolls at bay. All right. For everybody else, we're over here on Twitch as well. Twitch.tv/Jeff Waldorf. If you want to go and, give us a follow over there, and all that wonderful stuff. But thank you to those of you watching on Twitch, on our YouTube channel. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Very important that you do so. Other than that, let's do this. Let's jump into the first story with a little bit of explosive. It's explosive. This next story. Terrible. All right. You might be wondering, are white people okay? I mean, fellow white people, I think we need to have a little bit of a chat about your tendency to blow things up for gender reveal parties, or genital reveal parties, if you will, because we recently had a rash of stories where there are people, white families, who decided to set off explosives in order to celebrate. In fact, the most recent story is there was a man in New Hampshire that kicked off a gender reveal party with 80 pounds of explosives. 80 pounds. On Thursday, the New Hampshire union leader reported that a man kicked off his gender reveal party by detonating an enormous stockpile of tannerite and blue chalk at a quarry in Kingston, leading to a blast that shook houses 20 miles away. 20 miles. Wow. So many residents and communities across southern New Hampshire and northern Massachusetts reported hearing an explosion just after 7 p.m., according to Jason Schreiber, a reporter. So let me give you some accounts from people in the area who were affected. Amy Owen, standing at her back porch watching her 9-year-old daughter and her friends when she heard a loud explosion. It shook her house so bad, and we thought somebody drove into our building. The kids all scrambled, saying, "Earthquake!" before asking me what it was. Owen's mother said the boom knocked off some knickknacks off her shelves, some 20 miles north of the area of the explosion. Heidi Jordan was getting ready to put food on the grill when she heard a loud boom and a deep rumble. I thought for a second that maybe a large dump truck had gone off the road and struck a tree. I went outside but didn't see anything. I also considered that it may have been another minor earthquake. Definitely had a rumble to it. Kristen Lockard lives in East Hampstead, was having dinner with her friends in East Kingston, said, sounded like one big boom and the house shook and the windows rattled. Lasted only 3 seconds. My friend, who was ex-military, ran outside to check it out. Didn't find anything. Schreiber later confirmed that the detonation was again caused by 80 pounds of tannerite, and the person who had set it off was probably not expecting that big of a boom, turned himself into police. Now, the article also goes on to explain how gender reveal parties have frequently turned into destructive events. Recent years, parents sought to reveal their baby's sex with even more extravagant pink and blue displays. One party triggered a wildfire in Southern California back in 2020, and another resulted in a plane crash in Mexico. Please, fellow white people, I implore you, please stop blowing shit up to announce your kid's genitals. It's not only unnecessary, it's weird, but also destructive. I mean, nobody cares that much, and you could hurt somebody, and you could hurt yourself. Now, as far as this is concerned, it did not hurt anybody. Just didn't hurt anybody. Okay, that's good. No injuries reported. And so, as far as this guy's concerned, I actually say in this case, let him go. I'm pretty sure the guy learned his lesson. Okay, and I also think, look, sometimes we get a little involved in planning these parties. We want things to go off without with a bang, and we don't realize how explosive the situation could really turn into. And so now at least the guy knows not to play with 80 pounds of tannerite or generally explosives in general. At least, as long as if you don't know what you're doing, you probably shouldn't play with it. 80 pounds. 80 pounds. Yeah. All right. So let's go from stupid explosions, stupid people, to dangerous people. Senator Ron Johnson is Republican from Wisconsin, is also a moron who apparently doesn't want things to go back to normal. Why do I say that? It's because he's actually pushing against the very one thing that we all need to do in order to get this coronavirus under control. On Thursday, he questioned the big push to ensure that everybody is vaccinated against coronavirus in an interview with conservative Wisconsin radio host Vicki McKenna, herself a vaccine skeptic, because of course, right? Johnson launched a condemnation of vaccine passports, a credential that would allow businesses to verify your vaccination status. So look, these are private businesses that are driving the idea, and it's because they want to get back to normal. They want to get back to normal. They want to get back to business. They want to remove restrictions, like, for example, patron restrictions, and get back to making money. Look, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with that. I want to get back to normal. I want to get back to people to be able to, go out to restaurants and things like that. And so turns out having people running around with corona is not good for your business. It's bad for business. And so I understand why businesses want to make sure that anybody who wants to be in your establishment has been vaccinated. I get how that makes people uncomfortable. Honestly, I really do understand. I get it. But at the same time, vaccine passports are not something that has been, that's not new in this country. This is something that has happened before and did not lead to, by the way, a massive, loss in your civil rights and things like that. In fact, kids have had to show vaccine records for a long time in public school. There's a whole history. I'll get into that. And if you go further than that, there are plenty of private businesses that have their own guidelines on what their customers can and cannot do because of the fact that you have to do certain things to protect your customers and protect your workers as well. And so what's interesting, too, is that Republicans generally don't have a problem with eliminating civil liberties for certain kinds of people. And we all know, of course, who those people are, who I am referring to. For example, back in 2016, the Republican Party were actually pushing bills to prevent refugees, migrants, those who are visiting the United States or migrating, to have basically their personal space heavily violated. Yeah, under the late John McCain's bill, along with a similar measure introduced by Representative Vern Buchanan, they would require the Department of Homeland Security to examine all their public records, including vaccine records, by the way, as well as internet sites and social media profiles to determine whether an applicant could be a security risk. Well, now, it's not people who are unvaccinated are not a security risk, but they are a health risk, which could also lead to issues of security. I mean, if everybody's down sick, well, then you got a problem. Okay, they're all getting sick from coronavirus. And so as for vaccines, passports, as I mentioned, have been used for quite a long time, actually. The first vaccine passport system was actually developed in the 1800s in response to smallpox. Local health officials and state governments started requiring proof of immunity while traveling or applying for a job. Trained conductors and employers had asked people to show either a scar left by the vaccine or a face that was pockmarked by smallpox, or a doctor's certificate showing that they had been inoculated. Schools had also begun, as I mentioned, requiring proof of vaccination in order to enroll children, a practice that continues today for lots of other diseases. And so the result of that was not a loss in your personal freedoms or liberties. Again, it just didn't happen. Okay. What did happen is that we got rid of smallpox. I would say that's a pretty good trade-off. Those measures prove highly effective at controlling the infections and enabled the economy, the thing that you say that you care about the most, economy, getting back to work, doing all that stuff, that allowed the economy to get back to work. And for the most part, guess what? The public had accepted it as part of the public health bargain. Okay? In fact, back then, the vaccine passport was widely viewed as a ticket to gaining freedom back. And yet you got people, well, for example, Jim Jordan, who's, yelling like, when are we going to get our freedom back? When are we going to get our freedom back? When are we going to get our freedom back? Come on. What's the number, Dr. Fauci? When's the date? Give me the exact time down to the second of when we're going to get our freedoms back from the coronavirus. Well, this is your ticket. Your ticket is getting a slight jab in the arm. That's it. And again, if you want to get rid of these restrictions on things like being able to eat out, masks, things like that, if you want that stuff to go away, it will, once we all get inoculated, all get the vaccine, and then allow the virus to basically die out. You want to lower that infection rate. Okay, you do so by getting a vaccine. You do so by still wearing your masks and allowing this virus to just naturally kind of peter out. Then we can get back to life. There you go. You know what? We shouldn't call them vaccine passports. We should call them freedom passes. It is a pass to freedom from coronavirus. But unfortunately, Ron Johnson and people like him are so stupid that even though that there's a clear exit sign to the end of this pandemic that is sitting right in front of us, exit, they look at that and think, no, no thanks. I'll pass. Now, Johnson went a step further, declaring that he sees, quote, no reason to be pushing vaccines on people, arguing that their distribution should be limited to those most vulnerable to coronavirus. They're reading a ton of articles how now that the elderly population has been inoculated, in large part, the most vulnerable, the sickest among us, right? Now, coronavirus is turning into a young person's disease. Now you have more younger people, 35 and under, right? And all around that, 35, 40s, 20s, people in their 20s going into the hospital. Those are the people that are now getting sick. Those are the people that are now ending up in the hospital with COVID. They're the ones that are on the ventilators. That's the problem, okay? But here's what he says. Quote, if you have a vaccine, quite honestly, what do you care if your neighbor has one or not? Well, I got the answer. Herd immunity, dumbass. No, look, Ron Johnson is deeply stupid and ignorant. He is a problem. Okay, Johnson also said this, quote, that he is highly suspicious of getting the big push to make sure everybody gets the vaccine, saying that it's not fully approved, that's wrong, but also arguing the fact that since it is 95% effective, means only a limited number of people need to get vaccinated. We all know that is not how that works. That is not how this works. He has no idea. Oh, the vaccine is 95% effective. That means that a big chunk of us don't have to get the vaccine. Again, not how it works. What we need to do is we need as many people as can take the vaccine as possible to develop herd immunity, which would suppress the virus and lower infections, lower deaths, and allow us to get back to work. Right now, the more infections that we have, and we have infections in my state alone, infections are exploding in our state because, again, you have a lot of people that have decided, we're just not going to follow the restrictions. We got COVID fatigue, and we just don't want to do it anymore. It'll be fine. We'll go to spring break. No. But the problem with more infections, not only just, with people getting sick and hospitals not being able to, keep up with the patients, and you get the problems with ventilators and things like that. The other problem is mutations, variants. Again, we have already seen a bunch of new variants that are actually more infectious than the original strain, and that have taken over as a dominant strain. In the UK variant, for example, and there's the South African variant, I believe, that has made its way around and is getting people sicker and is being able to spread around a lot faster. Now, if we don't vaccinate people, and so far, the vaccines have held up against these new strains. Well, what if you get a mutation, allow a mutation to happen that then makes it so these vaccines are not effective anymore? Well, then you have just undone all the work of the last 5-6 months or longer, actually. All the work undone that was put into the vaccine, all the investment, it goes to waste because we allowed this through our carelessness and not getting vaccinated, this strain to mutate into something that now, oh God, looks like we're going to have to go and get another vaccine, go through trial and error, which also means lockdown, shutting down the economy, all this ridiculous stuff. Yes, the Brazilian variant is killing people between 20 and 40. It is now a young person's disease. Whew. Ridiculous. And so we need to that's why we need to get people more vaccinated. And anybody who has a child's grasp of, basically anything, I would say, of how the world works and how, diseases spread, viruses spread, and how you can stop them, knows this, which says a lot about Ron Johnson. He's not only a moron, but he's a dangerous one at that. And he threatens, he and the people that believe like him, they threaten all the progress that we have made on this front. He's got a platform and yet uses that platform to give legitimacy to dumb ideas, pseudoscience, and conspiracy. That is not good. That is not good at all. Because when you look at how that affects his constituents, it becomes clear that this is the problem. 32% of the residents in Carbon County, Wyoming, for example, that voted for former President Donald Trump by 53 points in 2020, they are vaccine hesitant compared to a 7% hesitancy rate in San Francisco County, California, which went for Biden by 73 points. Now, remember that these vaccines were created under the Trump administration. The Trump administration funded a lot of these vaccines in their push. And so, yes, I believe they do get partial credit for this. They, of course, had problems with supply, of which the Biden administration had to take over and really push for that. But again, you have this vaccine that is turned political when it really shouldn't be. It's health. Health shouldn't be political, and yet it has been turned into something in this country. Everybody should have health care. Everybody should be vaccinated. That is how we get back to normal in this country and actually do something better. And unfortunately, we got people like Ron Johnson that are hurting that cause and hurting the country. Christine McGee brings up a great point over here on Facebook. Even if America were to get the numbers down to zero and maintain, the second you open the borders to other countries who have not gotten rid of it, we'll be back to square one. Which is why, Christine, we need to not just hoard the vaccine. We need to export the vaccine to other countries in order to push them to get inoculated as well. So that, that's really the only solution to that is for everyone to be able to have that vaccine. It's super stupid to have, these vaccines only available to wealthier countries because this virus knows no borders. We're all in this. We're a global society, And we need to have a global solution. You export the vaccine. Absolutely. All right. Let's make fun of Mike Lindell. MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell has been unsuccessfully trying to launch a social media site that would rival YouTube and Twitter. Now, the only problem is, is that his website sucks because he has no idea what he's doing. Now, according to experts that call themselves grandmasters around the content management software Drupal, I believe is what it's called. I don't know how to. I'm not a code monkey, but these people are, and they took a look at Lindell's site, and they came up with the conclusion that this was doomed from the start because of incompetence. His developers apparently failed to take what they considered to be elementary coding steps to, one, limit attacks from outside forces. Which, by the way, this is not a unique problem quite online. There's always people that just want to mess with other people's websites. If there's an exploit, they're going to find it. They're going to hash it. They're going to hack it. They're going to crash it. They're going to do all that stuff. And they're going to do it for the lulz. They're going to do it for fun. That's what some people online do. Okay? That sucks. And that's what's been happening, by the way. Since its supposed VIP launch last Thursday, Lindell's platform has experienced numerous crashes, 500, error codes, all that stuff. It just generally hasn't worked. Now, Drupal's site, in which they use, by the way, they're using this software platform. Now, they explained that the software is used to make many websites and applications that you use every day. Has great standard features like easy content authoring, reliable performance, excellent security, but is also open source. Now, open source, it's good. It means that you can take this open source software and you can configure it to what you want to do with it and modify it as you please it at no cost, right? Now, in order to do that, you're going to have to know what you're doing. Okay? And unfortunately, they do not know what they're doing. Speaking to Salon on Thursday afternoon about Lindell's site, one certified grandmaster, Acquia, I believe, who oversees a technology firm that employs numerous other grandmasters, so they know what they're doing when it comes to code, said that Lindell's site was set up for failure from inception, saying that its developers, whom Lindell compared to Navy SEALs, had failed to carry out basic 101 tasks for this website, for this software. One coder spoke to Salon in great detail, explained the potential shortcomings of the program code and the patchy work done by his development team. The expert said Drupal can power sites with lots of traffic. However, there's a limitation. It's that it wasn't really designed to be a social media site. They explained that because the architecture was not designed to handle a large amount of user-generated content, which again is, if you have a social media site, a lot of it, that activity is going to be driven by the users themselves and not the curators of the website. Lindell's website, they say, was basically trying to make soup from scratch for everybody, said the expert, who claimed more than 25 years of experience in the IT field. In my professional opinion, it would be extremely unlikely, if not impossible, for Lindell to accomplish his vision with this open source software and his own servers, the expert told Salon. Now, the reason, of course, that Lindell went with his own servers is because he didn't want anyone to be able to shut him down, right? So didn't go with Amazon servers, which a lot of websites actually do use. They decided to go with their own, which of course is pretty costly, honestly. But I guess in order to offset the cost, he went with free open source software, which isn't a bad idea. It's just a bad idea if it's not going to do what you want it to do. Now, despite how much I love it, according to the expert, it simply isn't the right tool for the number of users with the features that he wants to provide. It would take a massive effort of 12 to 18 months to build out the needed hosting setup and application architecture, and this would come with an enormous degree of risk. The idea that he could do this in just a couple of months is patently absurd, and I think the results speak for themselves. True. Again, look who we're dealing with. Creating a social media website is not the same as making crappy pillows. All right? And not only that, but again, he cheaped out and used open source software. Now, I use open source software. I'm using OBS Studio right now. It's fantastic. It works for streaming. It's fantastic for streaming. Again, it's what I use. It's what a lot of people who are, running these programs, what they use. Because it was made to do that. You use it because it works. This is not that situation, which makes me think that Lindell was highly involved in the development and strikes me as somebody who is, look, this guy is not internet or technology savvy. Okay, he does not know what he's doing. And I think his lack of knowledge led to some poor hiring decisions, probably maybe a little nepotism in there. I can't prove that. But whoever he hired is doing a real piss poor job. And, they're not sending their best, okay? That's it. They're not sending their best. In fact, here's what another expert said. When I was looking at the code in the browser, they basically launched the site while in development mode, one expert told Salon, citing the fact that developers have failed to check a box to aggregate files on the platform as the first red flag. Their files were not aggregated. And by the way, that's a checkbox. In the program, you literally check the box and you hit save. My jaw dropped when I saw that. I was like, they did not try to launch this thing without aggregation turned on. Oh, but they did. I don't need your fancy degrees and your facts. I want to build this website with hookers and blackjack. Except none of those things, because Mike Lindell is a good God-fearing Christian man. Yes. The second major red flag they found is that the website was generating coded errors and sending them to users, not administrators, but a user would get these coded errors, which of course ends up leaving the platform open to attacks because where the vulnerabilities and exploits are. Other grandmasters poke fun at the developers' mistakes, which were described as, quote, extremely obvious and even juvenile in nature. And one expert concluded that based on the evidence, Lindell's development team was inexperienced, lacking basic knowledge, and also called it, quote, not even student-level work. Ooh. Oh, the expert finally said this, quote, this is a shit show, saying that this obvious issue is that coders, that a lot of these issues are incredibly obvious and that they learn to prevent them in Drupal 101. So, yeah, this makes me think conspiracy. Either Lindell is dumb and incompetent, as well as his team, or they set this up to fail so they can blame the left. That's where the conspiracy comes in, okay? Oh yeah, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to launch Frank's speech. I'm going to raise a lot of money from people. I'm going to sign a bunch of people up. And then what I'm going to do is set this thing up to fail by making it as cheaply as possible. And then, once it fails, I can blame the left and raise a bunch of money. Or maybe it's just a mixture. Maybe with the fact that they're incompetent and tried to make something on the cheap that they thought might work and failed to do so, they will then, after they fail, blame the left anyway. So it's a win-win either way. Remember, Lindell, not a very smart person. They're not sending their best. Thought a prank caller was hacking into his phone by just calling him during a disastrous telethon. He does not know what he's doing. Okay. No idea what he's doing. Excuse me. Combine that with his victimhood mentality and a penchant for believing in nonsense conspiracy theories and then peddling them and making movies about them, you can see that this venture, like a lot of the ones from his hero, Donald Trump, fail. Sad baby. Making a social media network is hard. Nobody could have known how hard. Nobody could have known how difficult a social media site is. And by the way, what is it with right-wingers now making social media sites? Honestly. What is this? You got Mike Lindell. You got Donald Trump, which, by the way, we haven't heard about his for a while. What's going on with that one? Yeah. Disaster. They're just bad at this. Real bad at this. Yeah. So, all right. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got more stories here, so stay tuned. Let's see. We're going to talk about a MAGA rioter striking out in probably the best, most hilarious way. And then disastrous, we have an unarmed black man, another one being shot by police. Oof. Disastrous. Stay right here around the nation.
There's insanity in the control room.
Who's got a hammer? Why? Oh, you're getting nervous, man.
Oh, wow, I'm sorry.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Around the nation right here. Waldorf Nation. Waldorf here with you. Tim Tams, OBS actually works pretty good for me. So, it could do all the stuff that I wanted it to do. I actually used to use the paid program, but I don't anymore because it helps me save money. And actually, I can do more stuff with this. And so, stuff that I couldn't do before. It's a difference between night and day when it comes to this. So, I don't know. I guess your mileage may vary. But anyway, so I've got a couple of super chats that I want to read here. Dango Bango points out that Howard Dean called the Republicans a neo-fascist party. Well, doing it wrong. I mean, I have my own issues with Howard Dean and establishment Democrats, but he's right on this one. And then points out that we also made breathable air on Mars today. Yes, the rover was able to do that, which is kind of awesome. Right now, Elon Musk is salivating. Oh, yes, I'm going to go to Mars. Oh, all right. Yeah, well, have fun with that. Try not to fuck up the Earth too much before you leave. Just saying. All right. Can we please not pretend this wasn't about the cops saying about Chauvin's conviction? Just lock him up with a bail. It's a fair trial. Well, we're gonna get into the details. All right. We can get into the details here of that story. It's still pretty disastrous. Mike Lindell has my green screen background. I know. Look, I get it. I get it. It was on the cheap. I'm happier with what I have in the background. It just feels better. It does, and it looks better too. And besides, I love being able to change up my lights. I'm like gonna sit here and play with things, and purple background, different backgrounds for different stories. Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's go back into it. In the era of coronavirus, dating is tough. Dating's even harder if you're a moron. In fact, a New York man is accused of participating in the January 6th Capitol assault, insurrection, MAGA insurrection, and then bragging about it. Yeah, got in a little bit of trouble after not only getting rejected, but also the person that he tried to court ended up hinting the information, the conversation out of the FBI. Good stuff. So, in fact, this happened on the Bumble dating app. Let's go to this conversation where Robert kind of bragged a little bit here. Now, his name is Robert Chapman, also known as Robert Eric. I guess when you have to change your name, that's already a red flag there. But the whole conversation is red flags. Oh, I stormed the Capitol. I made it all the way to Statuary Hall. Look at how great I am. Yeah. You know what? I did it for Trump. Yeah. Great. To which this very smart woman replied, "We are not a match." To which she ran away. Oh, rejected. Oof. Oh, that hurts. But again, that other person contacted the authorities, gave them all the information, which led to the arrest of Mr. Chapman. NBC New York reports that he was arrested and charged with trespassing, disorderly conduct on restricted government property. Court documents also include images taken from his social media, include one taken inside of Statuary Hall, just as he had bragged about. Court filings also state that Chapman was seen on police body cam footage taken during the assault and had been filming his own video. So not very smart. Yeah. I keep saying it, and it keeps proving to be true. Donald Trump was not sending his best. Okay? And as some of you point out, I did it for Trump is like the saddest thing ever. The absolute saddest thing. And so, yeah, dumb. So dumb. And here's the worst thing about it, the saddest thing about it, is that he believed that he was impressing this woman by saying, "Oh, look at me! Look how strong! Look how much of a alpha male I am! Look how strong I am! Yeah, I'm manly. I'm gonna save Western civilization. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. I'm gonna do it by invading the Capitol." Ironically, of course, he's trying to date. Obviously, with the coronavirus, it's a little bit harder. A lot of people turn online. But yeah, trying to date. And part of, by the way, them saying saving Western civilization is trying to get women in order to have white babies. Right? Hey, that's what they're doing. Okay. And so what they need is they need to find women that are willing to be broodmares. That's what it is. And shocker, women aren't going to go for that. A lot of women not really interested on being the trad wife. Okay. And so these ones are not going to be impressed by their stupid act of bravado. Sad day. Super sad day for you. But hey, who knows? With all these fellow MAGA protesters going to jail along with you, well, you might end up finding a soulmate after all. Uh-oh, I see some leftist gatekeeping in the chat. Bad. No leftist gatekeeping. Let's not do that. And yes, these people did crime. And so, yes, they're getting arrested. On YouTube, yes. All right. Well, let's move on. Now, one thing that police defenders in this country say is that the cops are there to help. All right. And if you're not a criminal, then, and if you're not doing anything wrong, then you're fine. Well, that didn't seem to be the case when it came to one black man from Virginia who had called 911 seeking help after, breaking down and wound up getting shot 10 times by a police officer. Now, NBC Washington is reporting that 32-year-old Isaiah Brown was given a ride back to his Spotsylvania County home by a sheriff's deputy after his car broke down at a gas station. So, okay, yes. He broke down. He called the officer for help. He actually got a ride back home. Now, when he arrived home, Brown got worried. He got worried that his car was going to get towed. Well, I can assume that since towing is rather expensive. If you've ever had to have your car towed and you didn't have the insurance coverage to go along with it, well, that's really, really expensive. Okay, and so, yeah, he gets worried about his car. Oh crap, somebody's going to tow my car. I can't afford to pay that. $500 towing bill. Unfortunately for Brown, he had called the officer that had given him a ride, thinking that, well, the guy, he already gave me a ride back to his car. He's cool. This officer helped me out. I'm sure he wouldn't mind bringing me back to my car just to make sure that it's not getting towed. Maybe I'll bring some tools with me and so I can get it fixed. Whatever. Now, unfortunately, that same officer returned and immediately after a couple of minutes, opened fire, shooting him 10 times. Now, Isaiah Brown survived and is currently being treated for 10 bullet wounds, but he is in intensive care. Virginia State Police said they're investigating the shooting. So far, have given no explanation as to why this shooting happened. Who they confirmed, by the way, they confirmed that Isaiah Brown was not armed with a weapon. He was unarmed. He wasn't doing anything wrong, but shot anyway. 10 times. Whew. Now, if it were a case, where the officer might have felt his life was in danger, well, the police would have immediately released this footage. They would have made a big presser about it and be like, well, our officer, we had no choice. There's the officer's life is in danger. We've got video, there's no choice. What are you gonna do? Well, in this case, they're not releasing anything. They refuse to release the dash cam video, or I'm sorry, not the dash cam, but they refuse to release the body cam footage of this, which tells you that there is something that happened that the officers do not want people to see. That is a problem. And now, more details about this. The sheriff's office categorized the second call, where he was calling to get back to his car, right? A domestic situation between Isaiah Brown and a family member. A source within the county sheriff's office said that he was complaining about his brother. Okay, but how does that lead to a shooting? That doesn't make any sense. Now, Tasman Brown said, who was a family member, says he believes his brother just wanted to get a ride back to his car because, again, he was worried that it was going to get towed and it was incredibly expensive. That same deputy, again, who helped him, had returned, opening fire. Isaiah Brown's siblings said the deputy, whose name was not released, started shooting for no reason. I'm still just trying to figure out where he felt the threat at to feel the need to shoot, said Yolanda Brown, his sister. After the shooting, of course, the deputy had administered CPR. The family said Isaiah Brown was in surgery and was wounded in the face, neck, chest, and pelvic area. So, holy crap. You wonder why communities don't trust police. Laura Ingraham has this theory, right? I've showed it on the show a couple of times. Where she'll talk about, well, the reason that black people run from police and are afraid of getting shot is because the left wing, cable pundits, corporate media, they're telling these young black men that they're going to get shot and killed by police. And yet, here's a situation where somebody calls the police to get help, to get a ride, and then was shot 10 times for no reason. And besides, here's the other thing. Police should not be called for these things. The police aren't a taxi service. Okay? And by the way, I'm not saying that, I'm not attacking Brown here. But let's be honest, police are not a taxi service. We should actually have a publicly funded taxi service that is able to help people that are broken down. Something that you can call, like, hey, I broke down on this and this street, come pick me up, and I think we should also have publicly funded towing that's free for people to use, because again, towing and why is that? Well, roads are publicly funded. Car breakdowns block roads, block traffic. They can become hazards. People could get stuck out in the middle of nowhere. We should have those things that are paid for by our taxes. It makes sense. And why we don't have something like this, it really doesn't make sense. But again, the core of the issue, though, is that we have, because of this situation, another black man who was unarmed, who had an interaction with police that ended up with him being shot. He's lucky he's alive. He really is. And at least for now, there's a good chance that, unfortunately, the injury could end up leading to disability, permanent injury, things like that, to where, the taxpayers will end up having to take care of him and, pay for that or pay for a family settlement. Like we seem to be held on the hook a lot for in these police settlements. And I'm just thinking maybe instead of having to do that, we find a better way to do things, instead of having this current system, we should defund the police. And I know that's a scary thing to say, but hear me out. We take the money the extra money that we were putting into police to do all of these different extra things and put it in other places. Put it into services for the community. Still have cops. All right. So I know a lot of you are going to be like, what the hell? No, cops are there to protect property rights. If your car gets stolen, yeah, you should call a cop. And the cop should go and find your car and, arrest the person who stole your car. And so you can get your property back. That was the whole point. The whole point of cops. Somebody steals, breaks into your house, steals your TV. You get your TV back. That's what the cops are supposed to be there to do. They should not be doing mental wealth checks. They should not be ferrying people around. They should not be, dealing with that kind of stuff. Even in a lot of domestic disputes, they shouldn't be dealing with those things. They should not be. It should instead be people who are there for de-escalation. Cops shouldn't be anywhere near this stuff. That's why you defund them, and you put that money into different things that allow different departments to go and answer things that they are suited to take care of. Again, I know a lot of this is unthinkable in our society. I get it. But imagine if we freed up some of the money that we use to, pay police officers to shoot black people for no reason, or to settle lawsuits as a result of those police shootings, or, the money that we use to go after somebody who's smoking a joint, or money that we use to bomb black people or brown people in the Middle East. The money is there. The money is there. It's just tied up in things that right now don't work. Now, I hope Isaiah Brown recovers. I hope that there is accountability. I'm going to see that there are more, details as days go by, as this is a new story. We're going to have to see what happens. Okay. Dave Rubin just said that there's no systemic racism. Dave Rubin? Oh, there's no systemic racism around here because it doesn't happen to me. I'm Dave Rubin. I get paid a lot of money. Ugh. That guy. He damn well knows. Damn well knows. All right. Y'all, I love y'all, but some of the tanky stuff is like driving me crazy. All right. Anyway, you know what? We're gonna end early. That's all I got today. Thank you all. Dave Rubin cringe. Indeed. And honestly, my Dave Rubin impression is actually an impression of the Surfs doing a Dave Rubin impression. That's just how it ends up. Tanky stuff, like tankies. What is it? Marxist Leninists? Those two, yeah. There's some issues there. I still love you all, but I don't agree with you. No, I don't think we need to burn it all down and have violent, bloody revolution in Minecraft. Not interested. We can actually fix things here without that stuff. I think we're evolved enough as people. We just actually have to do the things. My Trump impersonation is your favorite. Well, I'm glad. I am glad. Appreciate that. Dave Rubin killed the spirit of the chat. Well, thank you. I can only ever hear Dave Rubin go, I'm Dave Rubin. Oh, hey, yeah, Mortal Kombat, huh? Tampa Dan? Sounds great. Should be fun. I got family to visit this weekend, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Yes, I will be. I've had my one shot of Pfizer. The rest of my family that I'm going to go see are already all vaccinated, but I still have to be the one to wear the damn mask. It sucks. Hate it. But you know what? It is what it is. All right. Anyway, thank you all. Have a great weekend. See you back here on Monday. Love you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, everybody. See you later.
There's some whores in this house. Wet ass B-word.
Masturbate all day long. Don't you want to please me?
Tighten up my meat.
Mike Patterns.
Please clap.
Are you kicking me out the door?
They're kicking me out the door.